Of the Youngstown Penguin Football Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Sal Guardo. With me, as always, is former defensive lineman Kyle Searle, former football director of operations Dan Kopp, and Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Hess. As always, please follow us on Instagram, Whitetown Penguin Podcast. We are everywhere podcasts are found. Please give us a 5-star review. And we are on YouTube Live every Wednesday, 7:30. Please follow us and subscribe and give us a comment in the chat as always. On today's show, we will definitely review a fantastic, dramatic win as your Youngstown State Penguins beat number 7 North Dakota in an overtime thriller, 41-40. We'll recap the rest of the conference week 9, get you ready for Illinois State, and get our picks in for week 10. But first, as always, over to Kyle Searle.
Hey, thanks, Sal. Once again, the Youngstown Penguin Podcast, always going to be brought to you by the Leiden Oil Company. Paul, Laura, Paul Jr., and Jen Leiden always doing what they can to support the Penguins on and off the field, fueling the best for success. So we always give the Leiden family a big thank you for us from the show. And I know a lot of people at the university, throw them a thank you as well. So on with the show.
Thank you, Kyle. And let's transition. All right, we will recap the thriller that was number 7 North Dakota going back and going down to the Ice Castle. This game, guys, was, as you know, neck and neck, back and forth. First quarter, Penguins scored 7 off a 7-yard Brungard pass. North Dakota answers. Going to the second quarter, North Dakota goes up, misses the extra point, and the Penguins enter with a 13-yard Bo Brungard touchdown, 14-13. North Dakota answers. Youngstown State answers right back with a 28-yard Bo Brungard run. We go into the half up 21-20 thanks to that miss extra point. Third quarter, North Dakota comes out firing. They're up now 6. We answer, and then we finally go up with a 34-yard field goal after that answer, 31-27. Penguins with the lead going into the fourth quarter. North Dakota, they answer again, another lead change. 34-31, North Dakota is up. Penguins get a field goal to tie it, 34-34, and that will be the end of regulation. We're going into overtime. Penguins go down the field. When I say the field, I guess the short field. Tyshawn Keene ends up scoring the touchdown, making it 41-34. North Dakota, as always, like they've done the whole game, they answer. However, they say that's it. We're going for 2 on the road. We're ending this right now, and we're definitely going to review that play in much detail later on. But long story short, they do not convert. The defense holds strong, and that ends the game. 41-40, your Youngstown State Penguins win. Just real quick, Bo Brungard, I don't know if some of you listeners are old enough to know about the Blitz video game, but he is the ultimate video game quarterback as he had 176 yards, 3 touchdowns. He averaged 10 yards per carry on the ground. This is our quarterback we're speaking of. Incredible. Dan, finally, it's nice to win another game. Who are our players of the game from the Youngstown Penguin Football Podcast?
Yeah, we were just talking about this before we came on air. So we're going to give out a bunch of shirts. Thankfully, there's Tito on the show. I'd like to see that.
He needs a shirt.
Yeah, we need to have Coach Phillips run him out team mascot maybe for the UNI game. So, we're going to go with a group of guys. First of all, the whole O-line. I mean, we rushed for, I think, 351 yards. So we're going to give each of those guys one, the whole O-line. Special teams were huge. Obviously, Andrew Lastovka and Sam Merriman. Those guys were each going to get one. I think Kurt brought up a great point. Sam was just on fire with those snaps. And we got 3 guys on defense. Devin Johnson. I think, Kyle, you said he was our leading tackler. Preston Zandier was all over the place. And Michael Voitis made some big plays down the stretch. So that's our 10 T-shirts we're going to be handing out here. I'm going to get a hold of Coach Phillips there in the morning and get those out to those guys, and hopefully they'll be wearing them on the road this weekend.
Hold on, let's get a clap in.
Is the clap for Tito, or I didn't know if the applause was for Tito making an appearance? Or
never
okay.
for Tito.
Yeah, quick thoughts on the game. I know Kurt and Kyle will dive into some more of the O&D, but just some observations from my end. I thought offensively it was nice to see us do some of those bubble screens, early in the game, out of some trip sets. I thought they did a good job with Bo sprinting them out. I'm sure, Kurt, like you said, you're going to jump on this and getting them comfortable. I think his first throw was that curl route to Hensley. It was good to see him back. I think that was his first action this year. He'd been banged up. And then they did a couple of wrinkles with Bo running some QB tray, pulling guard and tackle, and Bo leading up there. They even did it with Ethan Wright, like a QB lead where he took the snap, and they were doing some of that. Obviously, we spoke last week about how close he was to breaking the single season rushing record for a quarterback, and he did it on Saturday. And he did that in, 9 games, guys? In 9 games. So it's pretty crazy. I thought the punt return by Cyrus was great there late in the game, set up that score. Our running backs did a great job picking up some blitzes when they came out in the second half. And actually, I think it was Tyshawn that sprung the one on Bo's long run. He picked up one of the Dakota guys coming in, and that kind of sprung Bo. I'll be interested, Kurt, what you think about some of Bo's throws. I thought he was decisive Saturday. That throw in the fourth quarter, 2 minutes to go, was 3rd and 5. He threw that great out route to Cyrus. It was right there. Wasn't an easy throw, and obviously it was late in the game. My key last week of the game was our D-line, the interior D-line. Would they stand up? And I thought, they bowed up and did a good job in the second half, kind of getting a push and holding their own. And I just think from an overall observation, I thought we were a 2-6 team playing the number, 6 or 7 team in the country. And we were fighting like crazy. Sometimes when you're 2-6, that's can be hard. But I think, again, it speaks to our culture. It speaks to what the coaching staff is doing. We were ready to play. And there we were fighting like crazy and pulling out in overtime. So I felt really good just about all phases of the game. And I think I'll say this much. I never thought we were going to lose the game. I never really had a feeling like, oh, man, now we got down. We're in trouble. I think we kind of controlled that game. Maybe not as, I don't know if control is the right word, but felt good the whole way through. So it was just a great, great win for the team at this point in the season.
Curdy, what do you think about the offense?
Yeah, Coach, a lot of great points. Offensively, I feel like we start every single game exactly the same. 13 plays, 75 yards, touchdown. So obviously that's a strength for our coaching staff, Coach Troy, Coach Phillips, and everybody else on the offensive side of the ball. Just the ability to break down film study, and get a good understanding of what we're going to see against a base defense that first drive. I think Bo threw 7 passes that first drive. I think it was a 13 or 15 play drive, and he threw a lot of passes and much more decisive, knowing where he was going to go with the ball. We came out that second drive, and that's when we threw the interception. And I think Coach Phillips and Coach Troy, and I'm completely speculating here, I think somebody got on the headset, one of them or one of the other offensive coaches, and says, Coach, look across from us right now. These guys are no match for us physically. Run the ball the rest of the game, and that's it. Because I think in the second half, and fact check me if I'm wrong, in the second half, I think we only had 1 pass attempt. I don't know if that includes overtime or not, but somewhere somebody said, just run the ball the rest of the game. And that's our best way to win, because we even kind of talked about it in the group text during the game. It was like, physically, we're standing over top this defensive line. The defensive line was pretty good. And overall, I thought North Dakota was going to be pretty disciplined. They ended up being a lot less disciplined than I thought, specifically in terms of containing Bo. The only concern I have from our run game and Bo's stats, and Bo's a big-time playmaker offensively, is they were so undisciplined on defensive line that Bo was able to break contain, and he truly saved us on a number of occasions. That's what has me concerned offensively. But to Bo's credit, like, he's probably the best athlete on the field last Saturday, and we had the best player on the field. So that concerns me moving forward against better opponents, because I don't think North Dakota was as good as we thought they were going to be. They're definitely not the 7th-ranked team in the nation. But I never would have thought, fact check me if I'm wrong, 1 pass attempt in the second half, we lose the turnover margin, and we lose time of possession, and we win the ball game. That's not our recipe. But to your point, it was just the run game took over. The offensive line took over. That's why we give them offensive line, players of the week, and we're giving them T-shirts, is because it really, we put it down to them. We said, we're a lot better than this team. And in a Missouri Valley Football Conference game, if you can control the trenches, if you can control the line of scrimmage, doesn't matter about your turnovers as much. It doesn't matter about your time of possession as much. Nobody was stopping anybody. I'm going to let Cyril talk a little bit about the defense, but just kind of moving into the key moment, we got stopped on 3rd and 1 in overtime, and it very easily, after having 1-2 pass attempts in the second half, we very easily could have run a play action. We could have kicked the field goal and played it safe. But thank God Tyshawn King scored. With that offensive line, just gave him a little bit of a seam. Tyshawn scored, celebrated, got hyped. And at that moment, I think all of us knew, like, we're winning this game. And I think North Dakota's coaching staff saw that as well. And they said, we have to go to 2. We have to go for 2 if we're going to win this game, because we're not stopping that run game today. And so I really think Tyshawn's touchdown in overtime, even though I think we had possession first, his celebration, the leadership from the O-line, the leadership from Tyshawn in that moment really forced North Dakota's hand, and ultimately helped us win the game. Because I know Sal talked about it. That 2-point play at the end of the game, you got to come up with something a little bit better. But I'll toss it over to Cyril for defense.
Kurt, real quick on the fact check, you are correct. There was 1 pass completed for 8 yards with 2 minutes and 23 seconds left. That went for a first down in the drive that led to the tying field goal. That was it.
To be fair, we had more called passes that ended up being runs because Bo was running.
Yeah, there's 1 sack.
I really think the defensive line for North Dakota is very small. They were undersized. And Cyril talked to it better than I can, but Bo was breaking contain every single time, even if we thought they had him dead to the rights. I think that Malachi McNeil, or whatever his name, late, and he got a sack late in the game, maybe overtime. Maybe made us kick a field goal. That was the only big play that I felt like they actually got him. And credit to Bo on that, but I also thought North Dakota was pretty undisciplined. I'll talk about that more with Illinois State, because I think we're still going to face better competition this year.
Cyril D.
All right, thanks. Yeah, thanks. I hope I got a lot of little points that I want to touch on, so hopefully my brain lets me organize them. To Kurt's point, I had never seen North Dakota in person before. They've played them on the road a couple times. We did not play North Dakota when we were there, so them physically standing on the field, that was not what I expected from a team in North Dakota, right? Like we're used to North Dakota State and South Dakota State, and even South Dakota now having some big offensive linemen. And but the one thing that they do outside of not having the size that the normal Dakotas have is, I think that they play hard. They just, were undisciplined and containing Bo a few times, and he made him pay. It wasn't perfect. I don't want to be overly critical in a huge overtime win like this against a ranked opponent. It wasn't perfect. We gave up 40 points, but the fact is, we got some stops when we needed them the most, especially on the 2-point conversion play. There was a lot of guys all over the field on Saturday, and we gave out some T-shirts to those guys, and honestly, there could have been more. There was a lot of big impact plays where guys had maybe 1 TFL in the game, but a TFL in a game like that is an impact play. So, the one thing that really, the one thing that I almost came unglued for was we were in a close game. North Dakota was driving. Receiver steps out of bounds. It's like 3rd and 7. And, one guy comes up, boom, plays over. And then our linebacker comes out of nowhere, puts his hands on him, and he basically flops. But he was still running, flops, gets the late hit penalty, moves them in. And that's really what, caused us to basically, we had to force overtime or, they were going to win the game. So I think this defense is growing. We saw it last week. I mean, they're getting more competitive. They're young. They're still making some errors that I would like to see cleaned up. That being one of them. That could have very well cost the Penguins the game. That late hit right there, because they went in and punched it in for a touchdown after that. So that's just my one critical moment of the game on defense where I'm like, that was stupid. But even then, after that late hit, there was, it looked like, a 4th down stop. North Dakota just got the benefit of the doubt on the spot there. So, but every time that defense took the field, they had energy and they were flying around. So that's good to see. Once again, I don't know if it's because they like playing under the lights in Stambaugh Stadium, because we're not always going to be playing under the lights in Stambaugh Stadium. So I think the last 2 weeks are some of the best football I've seen them play this year. I think that we just need to keep building on that. Because realistically, I think winning out's on the table for us. I really do. So that's all I got.
And
I don't think I missed any of my points.
No, I was going to say it for later in the show, but since you brought it up, I think at the beginning of the season in August, we looked at this November as, oh my God, this November is going to be so critical, so huge. Now we're looking at it, and I'll go through the standings later. November is the easiest part of our schedule by far. I mean, those are the easiest opponents left. We'll go over that, but one thing I wanted to do is I want to go over that last play of the game because it was super dramatic, and I just want to see what the hell North Dakota was trying to do. Question for Cyril and Dan. Dan, you were there, right, at the game? Did they report number 67 as eligible?
I don't know that.
No.
I'll be honest with you.
And I don't know if the rules have changed. When I grew up here in Tampa with John Gruden, he would sometimes put Warren Sapp Daddy at tight end, and you'd hear number 99 reporting eligible as tight end. The whole stadium would go nuts.
No,
right?
I don't think they did, right, Kyle? I didn't hear that. And
I didn't hear it. No.
Well,
I mean, that would have
the
been
point I'm getting at is that may or may not have been the difference, because he was 100%. When I say eligible, he was a wide receiver. He was the last guy on the line of scrimmage at that end. And if you watch him, he doesn't go to block anyone. He crashes down and then turns around like he's ready for the pass. So I don't know if the call was, let's get the Wildcat and let's kind of roll to the right and then throw back to him. Because the way the ball was thrown to him, it was almost like he had no idea, but he didn't touch anyone. He just piled. So what I'm getting at is, if that guy didn't have butter on his hands and he actually reported eligible, they could have won that game, because he was wide open and he was eligible from a formation standpoint, but was wearing the wrong numbers on his jersey. I had to review it like 3 times to make sure I wasn't crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my only question would be, and for all of you guys, is the quarterback they had in the game played pretty well. I mean, he's their guy, right? And you're going to go try and win the game, which Kurt mentioned it earlier. They were not stopping us. We were moving the ball at will. And maybe they say, hey, we got to go win the game. I can't stand going for 2 until you have to, because they get cheat your kids out of playing the game until you can't play it anymore. I don't like going for 2 at that point. But why do you take your quarterback out? Why do you take the guy who's played the whole game, who has put you in a position to win, and you take a guy out who you ran on a quarterback sneak. He fumbled the ball. Remember that quarterback sneak he did earlier? I think he fumbled on that play, though they blew the whistle maybe. But that's the play you got to win the game. I don't know. I mean, that's why I'm on this podcast and not coaching.
You go for 2 when you don't think you're going to win the game. That's when you go for 2.
That's true. But what's that message sent to your kids
North
too?
Dakota, that they don't think if they go into another round, they don't think they're going to win the game.
Well, it's easy that I'm just saying, why go for 2, kick the extra point, and keep playing until you have to go for 2. I mean, you're on the road. I understand you've got a good point, Si. There's a lot they probably figure we got to go try and win this, but I just think pulling your quarterback out, that'd be like in 2012 or 13, we're trying to win a game on the road and Wolf says, Kurt, you're out of the game. Nah. Not that guys behind him couldn't play, but that's our guy. You want your guy in the game.
Real quick, Dan, is the new overtime rules is on the 3rd overtime. It's just 2-point plays, right? So in the first round, you have to go for 2 anyway, right? So in the first round, they had the ball last to go for 2 to win the game. Second round of overtime, they don't have that opportunity because they get the ball first, right? So
I just still keep playing. You've played as you know. I mean, I'm just. This is just my opinion. I thought we were never going to lose the game anyway, so I'm glad they went for 2. But yeah, but I'm sure their coach didn't think that. I can't believe Bubba Schweigert was sitting there going, "Well, maybe he did down deep, but I don't know. I just don't like the call going for 2 right there."
I don't know. I think it's. I feel like if YSU was in that position, that's when it would make sense to go for 2, right? Like you're 2-6, you're on the road, and you got nothing to lose. Where these guys were just like they just gambled it instead of taking the free point and then seeing what the next overtime brought. I don't know if they panicked. The only thing that I could think about is why you would take that quarterback off the field for that play is as soon as they set up that 2-point conversion, I immediately thought of the Tebow jump pass, and it kind of unfolded like that. And the only thing I can think of is the quarterback was not very tall. Like, I mean, he is probably the smallest quarterback I've seen play in the Missouri Valley.
Yeah.
In a long time. And so I don't know if they were legitimately trying to do a jump pass to that.
Yes, they were. That was a design throw.
All right. Well, we weren't going to take Bo out of the game, I don't think, in that instance. And I would ask our Hall of Fame quarterback, how do you think their quarterback felt when he got pulled out of the game on the play to win the game?
Really? No, I'm totally in agreement. You do not take your quarterback off the field, but it looks like that is a play that they specifically ran with who was in the game to execute it. So who knows?
I had 2 thoughts in the moment, and then Cyril just gave me another one, which was I remember I don't know if it was the announcers or if it was just in a scouting report we talked about, that quarterback that they put in hasn't beaten anybody out. He's been in the program for 3 or 4 years. So how are you going to take a guy who hasn't made his mark as a quarterback? He got dumped and moved to tight end, and now he's all of a sudden going to be your savior. I mean, that to Cyril's point, it's like, the announcer says this guy has not been able to climb up the depth chart. That's neither here nor there. Number one, you're not taking me off the damn field, right? Like, it is what it is. That guy hit some big throws. I know he's a little kid, but he clearly was commander-in-chief of the offense, right? And he hit some tight window throws, big 3rd down conversions. He led you to that point. You would have to pry me off the field. I don't think Wolf or Monty ever would have told me to do that or even asked me to do that, putting me in that position. But what I really was thinking about strategically, I thought they were going to show something, take the timeout, bring this guy back on the field, and then show a different look. So I thought that they were going to show that jump pass or QB power. That's really the only 2 plays you're getting with that big dude in there is you're getting a jump pass of some kind or you're getting a QB run. Show that, make Doug take a timeout or you take a timeout, and then come out in a completely different look, spread out QB draw or something up for 2 yards, and maybe make us make a defensive play call that we either can't adjust to or it's the wrong play call or we have the wrong personnel out there.
Well,
yeah, I mean it was super bizarre. I mean, even if you plan to do QB power, I mean we weren't perfect against the run, but we were significantly better against the run in this game than the pass. So I don't know. I just would like to see that starting quarterback on the field. Glad
I
he
agree.
wasn't, but
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the grand scheme of things,
the other side.
like
Hey, I love the call.
If you-
For us, I loved
You're
it.
if you spread it out empty, you get them in empty, and then like you have your running back out on the outside, you can motion them back in for extra protection or put them out on a route, and that causes all kinds of problems too. Not that I played against it or anything, but it's just that was a bad call, and I think and I'm not sure the rule. Like if you have to declare eligible and they did it, boom, that's wasted all those reps. You wasted all those reps practicing that because it was specifically practiced for that scenario 100%.
Yep.
And you wasted it by not reporting eligible.
Yes. I was going to say, make no mistake, that was 100% a design pass. And also, make no mistake, he dropped it, which, I mean, like you said, we're lucky he didn't report eligible. I almost wonder if they didn't practice. I don't know their team very well, but that guy, he almost looked like he never caught a football in his life. So I don't know if they actually practice it with him. You know what I mean? That guy he was wearing like his fingers were all taped up. Like, I don't know.
It almost looked like to me he wasn't ready or expecting that throw, though.
But he didn't block a darn look at the tape. He didn't block a person. He just literally walked through, turned around, and just looked at the quarterback. It was like
It was a terrible play call. That's on coaching. 2, it was terrible execution. That's on players. So whatever.
Well, my last thought would be.
So was he open?
When they ran him out there, I thought they just brought him in the game with the starting quarterback, and they were going to have a play where they had both them in the backfield, and like I think Kurt or Kyle, you might have said maybe we got to call a timeout and go, whoa, we haven't seen this. We got to call timeout and get lined up for the game here. But when the other starting quarterback wasn't in there, I'm like, wow. But hey, that's why I'm on this podcast.
Let me say this: after the 2-point conversion failed, and we won the game, I was standing on the sideline with Alvy. It was
electric.
It was so cool. It takes me back to when this is totally different circumstances. In a little bit, but like we were struggling and we upset North Dakota State at North Dakota State, and like we cleared the benches, and like this team has been trying to find something. They've been growing little by little. We thought something clicked last week. They only got one half into the books. They finally got 4 quarters. It wasn't perfect, but they did what they needed to do to win. And it was just so cool to see those guys just leave the sideline and go celebrate at home. It was awesome.
Love that. Y'all want to move on to the standings in the conference? Let's keep it rolling. Well, real quick before I get to that, we definitely had some controversial I don't want to say news, but I guess argument about Missouri State. Kyle Searle mentioned they are not eligible for the playoffs. One of our own future Hall of Famer, Chris Elkins, said, hey, and he had a source that showed Missouri State did not increase their scholarship limit, so they could be eligible. We went straight to the source today to Patty Viverito, our conference commissioner, and she did confirm Searle was correct. Missouri State not eligible for the playoffs because they're moved to Conference USA going into next year. That being said,
Elkins.
Hey, Sal, can you do the little clappy thing because you got Viverito right, man? Good job.
Yeah, right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, Sal's one of the few people. Sal is one of the few people that can go right to our conference commissioner.
Yeah,
and he's got a direct line. He's got the bat phone to Patty, and I mean there was no delay. But that's why he's the
It's her
Salvadorian.
last season. She's just kind of, picking. She has her feet up, and she's just waiting for people to talk to.
Another take on this: Missouri State being ineligible for the playoffs. I don't know if this is still the case. I haven't seen any rules changing it. They are not bowl eligible for what, 2-3 years?
Yeah, something like that.
Once they move up.
Yeah.
How does that make any sense?
If
how
bowls are
do
still
you-
around, Charles, they may not be around anymore.
There's too
Anyway.
many of them, anyways.
Let's go through the conference real quick. North Dakota State still number 1 at 5-0. Missouri State, if it means anything, they're actually undefeated too in the conference, 4-0. I believe they have a very rough November coming up. South Dakota Coyotes 4-1. South Dakota State 3-1. The Redbirds of Illinois State, who we play, is 2-2. North Dakota, Indiana State, also 2-2. Your Penguins 2-3, and then Northern Iowa, Southern Illinois, Murray State yet to win a conference game, and 2 of those 3 are on our schedule here going into November. That being said, let's get into how the week went for the rest of us. First, congratulations, Kyle Searle. He did win the picks for the week. He now trails me, Dan, and Kurt just by 1 point. So we got a close race coming to the end here, boys. But just to recap how everything went on October 26th, Southern Illinois was upset by Indiana State. Congrats, Indiana State winning 20-17. North Dakota State blows Murray State out of the water with a win and cover 59-6. Missouri State wins and covers 49-42. Is that right? I need to double check that. North Dakota is upset, as we talked about, to the Penguins. Penguins win 41-40 in overtime. Money line for the Penguins. South Dakota at South Dakota State in an absolute thriller game. South Dakota State wins in overtime 20-17. 14-14 was the end of regulation. South Dakota gets the ball first in overtime with a field goal, and the Jackrabbits answer with a touchdown to shut down the upset. Interesting game. But that's the week that was. Y'all want to move on from that?
No. Can we bring up the fact is South Dakota State, like, what is going on with them? Are they struggling? Are there question marks? Are people hitting the panic button in Brookings?
Of course they're hitting the panic button. They've never seen 2 weeks in a row like this in years. I don't know. I haven't watched them since they blew us out, so I don't.
The question is, does South Dakota, as you called it, well, you said they're not good, but in Tampa terms, you said they stink. So do you still feel that way as they took the Jacks to the wire? What's your feeling?
I'll have to rewatch the game. I didn't see it. I'm not impressed yet.
Not only did I still think the Coyotes went into the game ranked number 4 and came out of the game ranked number 4, even with an overtime loss. So, I mean, honestly, did we really turn? I know the transitive property doesn't work to football, but did we really turn a quarter last week 2 weeks ago when we took South Dakota, to overtime worried?
Here's my take real quick on that. I don't think it was quote unquote turning the corner, because remember, this team lost to Villanova by a touchdown. This team lost to Missouri State, who we know is great, by a touchdown on the road. I just think when it comes to Pittsburgh and South Dakota, we showed up scared, and we didn't even we showed up with the will to lose, and we lost. And then the Duquesne game, I completely blame on the TV commentators for blowing that. What do y'all think?
I don't want to say anybody was scared. I would rather say maybe Pitt's pretty damn good, and their head coach and
this is the best Narduzzi Pitt team ever, apparently.
Yep, they got a quarterback.
Duquesne has still not lost a game. Duquesne has still not lost a game since those first 2 money games they played, by the way.
Yeah, so they're pretty good, and obviously South Dakota State beat us up, but There were other YSU football teams that got beat up by South Dakota State that weren't scared. So I that's the only thing I might argue there, Sal, that we showed up scared. I don't like that. I just think we got beat by two really damn good football teams.
South Dakota State. I mean, like Cyril was alluding to about saying it, how can we play South Dakota like that and then play South Dakota State like that? It's like the only answer is we showed up not wanting to beat South Dakota State.
Or was South Dakota overlooking us? I don't really think that was the case, but
we're getting better each week. I like that. We're getting better.
Yeah.
But Missouri State again. That was an oh my God at the time. Now it's like, well, Missouri State's pretty damn good.
Well, Sal, you brought up a good point in the conference standings. The teams above us, we're 2-3. Indiana State's 2-2. We beat them. North Dakota 2-2. We beat them. We play Illinois State.
We beat Illinois State. Go ahead.
Well, I'm counting on us beating them. South Dakota State, who beat us, they're 3-1. They're pretty damn good. And South Dakota, we lost by 10. Played them tough. And Missouri State, who's 4-0, they scored at the end of the game to beat us. So,
yeah,
there's some respect there. But
all right, you ready to move on?
Yeah,
let's do it. All right, your Youngstown State Penguins, November 2nd at 3 p.m. are at Illinois State. Expect a sunny 59-degree weather. Beautiful Midwest fall weather game on ESPN Plus or wherever your local Youngstown network may be. Illinois State, just to talk about them real quick and who they are and where they've been this season. They're 5-3 so far, standing tall, 2-2 in conference, as we talked about. Their only losses, they were at they're at Iowa for their money game and looked terrible, actually. They were blown out 40-0. They lost to North Dakota State, who hasn't, 42-10. And Missouri State, as we talked about the close game we had with them, they lost 41-7, blown out to Missouri State. Who have they beaten? Northern Alabama, Western Illinois, Eastern Illinois. In conference, they blew out Southern Illinois 45-10, and they had actually, it looks like a nail biter to Murray State, 40-32. Remain on their schedule. They have the Penguins, Northern Iowa, Indiana State, and North Dakota. So besides us, it looks like they, I don't want to say have an easy road, but it looks like they've been in the harder part of their schedule is over. Just to recap a few games, because we have had quite the close games with this team. I just want to go back in the history books. We're 10-10 overall with this team. The home team has the winning record. So we're at Illinois State. We're 3-6 at Illinois State. We're 5-5 with them in the last 10 matchups. But I just want to highlight a few games that were absolutely nuts. Starting with just last year was pretty nuts. 41-38, Penguins win with a field goal, 37-yard field goal as time expires, coming off a 10-play drive to win the game. So that was the last play of the game. We kick it as time runs out. Year before, another absolutely nuts game. Penguins win 19-17 with 10 seconds left. Bryce Oliver catches a 12-yard pass from Mitch Davidson. And that was, I was really panicking. 8-play, 80 yards, 56 seconds. We go down in the last 10 seconds and score the touchdown to win the game. Bring it back one more time. 2015, another classic, but the Redbirds win this time, 31-29. The Penguins score off a Martin Louise 13-yard run. 13-yard pass from Hunter Wells. And that will bring the Penguins within 2. We go for 2 to tie the game, but we fall short, and that's with 30 seconds left in the game. So a comeback falling short. And, of course, one more classic for the Redbirds to bring all of us back to our nightmare game that we'll never forget, 2011. or is it 2010? 2010, Illinois State beats the Penguins 41-39 as looks like here the Penguins were trailing 35-17, come all the way back. It looks like one of our own, Kurt Hess, rushes in for what we think at the time is the winning touchdown with 27 seconds. However, Illinois State gets the ball, 40-yard pass play, another 40-yard pass play, and with 1 second left on the clock, Illinois State, 3 plays, 69 yards, 21 seconds. Craziest game I remember being a part of. They won 41-39. The point I am getting at is this, I want to call it a rivalry, but this has been a back and forth series with Illinois State. Not always a guarantee win for either sideline. Curdy, sorry for bringing up those memories as you probably were trying to celebrate on the sideline, but what do you think about this Illinois State of 2024?
Yeah, thank you, Sal. I appreciate that. I'm probably not going to sleep tonight, so thank you again for doing that. I think you actually got a great point, though. When it comes to teams in our conference, this is probably the team that we would have a rivalry with in terms of they're probably recruiting regionally the same way that we're recruiting against, because Eastern's out there, Southern's out there, Western's out there. They got Illinois. So in terms of a geographical recruiting demographic, we probably are seeing similar players. We seem to have similar success every couple years. We may make a playoff run. The one thing that I think about Illinois State consistently is the coaching staff. And Brock Spack's been there. I think this is his 16th season. So he knows the conference. He knows the players. The thing about this week's game is it seems like North Dakota is still trying to fit in a little bit. Illinois State has a good understanding of how to win in this conference. They may not always do it, probably because they have some of the same constraints that we have. So I think it's a fair assessment, Sal, by you to call this kind of a rivalry. I defensively for them, I'm feeling a little bit better about our offense, not a ton better, because of the undisciplinedness of UND last weekend. We can't count on Bo to play hero ball every single possession on 3rd and long. And I don't think Bo's doing that on his own. When you watch Bo a little bit, and this is probably an unfair comparison, it's the way that Lamar Jackson kind of plays, where he's the best athlete on the field. He can almost do anything to anybody at any time. But then you find, the Cleveland Browns defense that beats Lamar, or you find the defense that's disciplined that keeps Lamar in the pocket, right? When we run into that team that keeps Bo in the pocket, are we still going to be able to have success? Are we still going to be able to convert? Are we going to be able to spread the ball around? Illinois State, with Brock's back, 16th season, knows the conference really well. They're coming off a bye. They're going to game plan pretty well for us. And I think on Military Appreciation Night in Normal, Illinois, they are going to be prepared. And all week they're going to – you know what they're doing in practice right now? They're putting one of their running backs or one of their best athletes on the scout team, and they're running him around. They probably got red number 12 or something, or black number 12, and they're going to be running him all around at practice this week, right? Just trying to make that seem like it's Bo. That being said, my concerns, let's move over to the Illinois State defense, which doesn't concern me at all, because they are 109th out of 123 in the FCS in terms of total yardage. They're giving up 440 yards a game. They're giving up like 260 passing, 180 yards rushing. They do have some good players. Both their linebackers are pretty good. Ty Niekamp was a freshman last year. He was All-American as a freshman, all freshman team. They got another guy, Lavoie Deontay McCoy Jr. He's pretty good there in the middle, and those two guys kind of anchor their defense. Other than that, I think we're going to have a lot of opportunities for big plays. And I'm hoping this weekend that we see something that we still haven't really seen, which is big opportunities in the pass game, right? Something downfield vertical. Bo may not be super decisive with every throw. He may not be super comfortable throwing to kind of that deeper intermediate, right, on a line. But if we can get behind this defense and hit some fade routes, hit some go routes, get the run game going. We ran the ball so much last weekend. you have to have some built-in play action to hit some big plays and really turn the tide of this football game. We know it's going to come down to our run game. We know it's going to come down to our offensive line. We know Bo's probably going to be the best athlete on the field, but can we make some big plays in the pass game that really change the momentum on the road against a team that's had 2 weeks to prepare, who in fact is 5-3, probably has the easiest Missouri Valley football schedule of the year. If you look at all of their opponents from the conference, they're in the playoff hunt still, right? They're 5-3. They've had 2 weeks to prepare for us. I hope, but looking at their schedule, that we're the best team that's still on their schedule. It's all downhill from here in terms of competition. That being said, with you and I, right? We don't really know what we're getting from you and I, but they're 5-3. They got 4 games left. They're looking to get to 9-3 and make a playoff run. And we're standing in their way. So we're going to have to make some big plays in the passing game. And I am praying that we can see it, because Bo can throw the long ball. So, I mean, that's just kind of where I feel at defensively. I'm not worried about them defensively. I'm worried about what we really can do and really trying to find our identity, but then also like take that next step, whatever that next step is, right? Because we know our identity is the run game. We just have to take out that next step and really try to figure out what that is, whether it's for this season or next season. Like, let's go get a big time road win and just really kick it to these guys who, like you said, Sauer, kind of our rival. They're right at our same level here in the conference.
Cyril, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, Kurt nailed a lot of points. This Illinois State team, this is a weird team. And I think it's really similar to this YSU team. It's a weird team this year, right? Like, I think both teams are trying to figure out who they really are. Now, one of them has a winning record, the other doesn't. If you look at points per game for Illinois State, they have roughly 26 points per game. And with a team with a winning record, you would think that the opponent's points per game will be less than that. It's not. It's roughly at 28 points per game. That's skewed a little bit because they played Iowa and got blanked 40-0. But to Kurt's point, they give up a lot of points or a lot of yards, right? And with that being said, they also have the ability to score a lot of points. So it's what Illinois State team are we going to get? Are we going to get the team that scored 51 against Western Hill, or are we going to get the team that scored, scored 7 against Missouri State? So it's, going to be interesting. Their quarterback, Tommy Rittenhouse, he's got roughly an 8-5 touchdown to interception ratio. He's not perfect with the ball, but, one thing that scares me about this kid is he roughly averages, a little over 50 yards per game rushing. So we have been decimated by rushing quarterbacks this year. I'm not saying he is a rushing quarterback, but he knows how to scramble when he does, and he's efficient with it. So I would like to see some clean pass rushing lanes, containment, like – basically, you have the best rushing quarterback in practice with you every single day. So it's amazing to me that we struggle against this. I mean, what can we do? If you can contain Bo in practice and shut Bo down, you can shut the rest of the quarterbacks down when they want to run in the Missouri Valley. So that's one thing I want to see done this week is, limit his, escaping yards out of the pocket to minimal. Sorry, I had the stats up here. Wanker's right is the number 1 back. I hope that's his name, Wanker. What a great name for Wanker, whatever it is. Now, he averages around 80 yards per game, so I think they're going to, rush the ball and hit us with some play action, whatever the case may be. Take the next step, keep getting better, keep growing. Like to Kurt's point, we really need to get on a good, clean win on the road. That is one thing, even last year when this team was firing on all cylinders, did not look good on the road. So, we have an opportunity to go 6-6. It starts this week. I would love to play spoiler to Illinois State and put another black eye on someone's resume like North Dakota. I think North Dakota's got to fight the rest of the year to get, into the playoffs. And, with Missouri State being ineligible for the playoffs, this might be a four team conference playoff appearance.
Three.
Yeah, and Cyril, to your point, I'll do a quick source because I was looking it up as you were speaking. Flow Football does have Illinois State as the last Missouri Valley Football Conference playoff team in the field, with including North Dakota currently. So currently, Flow Football still has us at 5. But if we take, like you're saying, right now, these teams are looking at us as, what are we? We're a 3-win football team. So they're chalking us up as a W right now. So to your point, Cyril, that we could play spoiler to this team like we just potentially did with North Dakota.
And we absolutely can. But, there's statistics against us in terms of like home team is traditionally the winner of this game. I don't know if this is still the case, but we got changed in a gymnasium there. Like it was just all,
Oh yeah, I forgot about
lockers.
that.
We were just, all our stuff was in a bag on the floor in the middle of a gymnastics gymnasium. Yep. So, can we mature? This is a mature football thing to do here. You have an emotionally charged win at home. Can you go on the road and reproduce and continue to play hard, play fast? And honestly, this one is so gettable. I am so annoyed that this team is 5-3. Let me just say that. And we are sitting at 3-6. I am so annoyed because I think that, I think we can go beat the brakes off of Illinois State like we did our senior year, Kurt.
Don't put that jersey on. That's right behind you. Put that thing on, man.
Dude. I was about. Hey, Preston's lucky he was getting all the assists and solo tackles because I was about. I'm like, Preston, give me that jersey. I'm about to go play right now. So shout out Preston Sandier
for sure. But I'm pretty sure when the captains walked out for that North Dakota game, I thought I saw Cyril leading the captains onto the field with C on his chest. But you'll have to verify that later.
I was standing in the back of the end zone by the steam whistle, which. When you're standing right by that damn whistle, that thing is loud, man. But keys of the game: play clean. Eliminate stupid penalties. So, for the love of God, if you see a receiver step out of bounds and it's like 3 seconds past the whistle, don't even touch him. Throw yourself on the ground before you touch this kid. And
what about running into the punter?
15-yard. I haven't seen it yet this year. So if Kurt or Sal, if they run into the punter, I'm flying to Tampa. And
thanks, Sal. Great jinx. Great jinx.
Or on 4th and 4.
I'll meet you in I'll just meet you in Blacksburg and fight you in Blacksburg. So, no, man, just continue to get better. Continue to play fast. The one thing that I saw this defense do is, like I said, even after points were scored on them, they made these teams work a little bit. So eliminate some explosive plays and just play with high energy. Coach Sims called it false enthusiasm because, at a certain point, false enthusiasm turns into real enthusiasm. And that is when, good things happen.
Dan, thoughts?
I was just waiting to see if actually the sledge was out on the field there and one of us actually were carrying the sledgehammer. But I think that's what we need to go on the road this week, is by the way. But you guys touched on some of the things. They're giving up points. They're giving up yards. I mean, they're going to throw the ball and we're going to run the ball. I mean, I think they're averaging about 260-odd yards a game throwing. But I kind of think that I noticed something in the North Dakota game. I think who else got us? I think South Dakota did on the wheel routes. Seems like defensively we get some matchups where they sneak it back out on the wheel, and I'm sure they might be looking at that. Hopefully we're adjusting for that. I'm still begging for that 3-back set with Bo, Tyshawn, and Ethan in there. Maybe that's a wrinkle we can show with 3 games left. I'm hoping for that. But, I hope we kind of bring Bo out in a little bit of a rhythm again, maybe open up the game with a curl route or, some kind of in route, something like that, a rub route, get him a chance to get a little comfortable there. But like Kurt said, we've got to get eventually over the top with some plays. I'm a little worried. I saw Stephon Hall get banged up late in the game. I hope he's okay. Obviously, I don't know anything whether he is. But I think this point in the season, everyone's self-scouting themselves, right? Everyone's probably looking and saying, like Kurt mentioned, and even Kyle mentioned defensively, I'm sure we've sat there and go like, man, here are our tendencies. So what do we got to do to break those tendencies? I remember Wolf always talking about that offensively with Shane. Hey, man, here's what we're doing. Here's what we're doing. Well, we gotta go against some of those tendencies. So maybe there are some things, they're looking for Bo to run. Brock's back, as you guys mentioned, great coach, defensive guy. They're going to not probably get too far upfield and try and eliminate him from running around. So what do we do off that? Can we show similar looks and get the ball more to Tyshawn and Ethan, or get some bubble screens or anything to kind of combat what we show all the time? I'm hoping to see some of that. And I think my key, again, I'm going to stick with that D-line. If this guy throws for 260 some yards a game, what are we doing up front to run some stunts or to get after this guy? I don't think he's a real mobile guy. I mean, I haven't seen him play, but I can't say he's he's going to want to throw the ball out there. So we got to find ways to get to him, get our hands on the ball and things like that. But, I think it's going to come down to, Sal, thanks for bringing up that great stat or that moment from 2010. Really appreciate it. And I blame that loss on that old gym we dressed in. There used to be, remember all the gymnastics stuff in that gym? We would there were no lockers. Guys were throwing their stuff over pommel horses or trampolines and shit like that. But
if Donald Delicio's listening, I hope he puts his 2 Super Bowl rings on tonight to help him sleep well after bringing that game back.
Wow. Man,
dude.
Sal. Wow, geez. So Pete,
Well,
Sal,
Sal,
you're Sal. I tell you what, Sal, I don't want to be anywhere near you the next time you step on campus. You called us out for being scared. Now the guy's the Super Bowl. I'm not even going to respond to that. Wow.
It's easy when you're down in Florida.
Yeah. There was another guy around that play too. You might, but man, throwing it all on. Wow.
There were multiple freshmen. Yes. True freshmen.
Yeah. Well, they were giving up plays back then.
I don't blame them. I'm just saying.
But again, that's my key. What will our D-line continue to play like, which has been good, especially as that second half last week. So carry it over. It's tough to win on the road there. Neat little fact that it was well before Brock's back, but Jim Haycock was the head coach at Illinois State back in the early 90s and beat Coach Tressel a couple of times. They were really good before he went to Ohio State with John Cooper. So this, I never really thought of Kurt. You brought up a good point recruiting wise. Maybe they're kind of similar to us where we got Akron, Kent, Bowling Green, all that stuff we always talk about. They've got Eastern, Western, Southern, all, Northern, all that. They're that's a really good point. I don't know if I've really thought about that they battle some of the same things.
Territory
you got
still.
Purdue, you got Illinois, you got Iowa.
Yeah, that's a really good point that there's some explanation of that. Yeah.
But then they got, we got Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati. They got Chicago to pick from. So it's you get a lot of those kids who are really good from those bigger cities that get big time offers, but then you kind of get the best of the rest almost that you're fighting over. I kind of like that. I think we're kind of landlocked here where we're at in Ohio. I mean, I don't know what, that northern, eastern part of the country, it's not like what the recruiting is there, but in Ohio, we're kind of, we're not drawn from Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin. Maybe we need to go out that way since South Dakota offered a Youngstown kid. But that's I don't know if I've ever really thought about that. What they battle is similar to a recruiting standpoint from what we battled. And real quick, someone asked me if I changed my shirt after the first quarter. I did. I wanted to put on the podcast shirt just because we're going to be giving them out. And Sal, I promise yours are
overnighted your last storm. I don't know what happened. We sent him to you, or I sent him to you, man. I don't know, but I promise you, I texted you the FedEx routing number, so you'll have them tomorrow. But yeah.
Just so everyone knows, I did walk into the alumni lot, which kudos to Hog doing the alumni tailgate every home game.
Was it happening?
I introduced myself. Yeah, it was happening. This food was good, and I talked to Hog, and Russell Stuvance was there. Shout out to another 33 if he listens to this show.
Yeah,
met another couple guys. Sorry, my CTE wouldn't let me remember their names, but they were like, "Oh, you're the podcast guy." So guys, these guys are listening to us. It's fun.
We got to get more of those guys on the show. We got to get them guys on.
Yeah, we do. And like honestly, guys, like we're gonna do a little bit better this off season. Hear everyone's stories and road to YSU and time at YSU.
Yeah, we really got to get.
I
those
would
guys
love to if we dub this like the new rivalry for YSU, because like Northern Iowa, I probably hate Northern Iowa the most out of everyone in this conference. Just historically, it's just not the rivalry is not there. Where Illinois State, like you said, it's back and forth and
It's there, yeah.
Similar
It's
recruiting, similar. Both our mascots are birds. Our colors are red and white. So,
and they fill up the stadium pretty well. It's fun to play out there. Other than the locker room.
Let's get a trophy. Let's get a trophy or something made for this game.
The Haycock Trophy.
Real quick, back to Illinois State.
We could have a Haycock Trophy.
Haycock Trophy.
Not a bad one.
The Cock Trophy.
Real quick, my thoughts. Kurt, you basically hit most of them. If you look at their offense and our offense, as individual stats and as team stats, running, passing, overall, they are in the upper 30s nationally ranked to lower 40s, and so are we. The only thing that sticks out is Youngstown State's number 12 nationally in rushing, mostly because our quarterbacks are leading rusher. Definitely helps. But you did mention their defense is 109th. Ours is 96. I think ours is a little skewed. If you throw out South Dakota State and you throw out Pittsburgh, we're probably closer to the top 50, top 40. But those two games definitely went haywire. To your point, though.
That's a big jump, Sal. Don't give our listeners that kind of
top 40 defense right now.
I'm going to look it up.
Check it up.
I'll check it up.
Check it up.
I'll do the numbers.
Check it up.
But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, of course, if you subtract all those yards, it's going to be top 40 because you're not.
Sal's on fire tonight. Sal is just on fire.
I'll put an average number in there. All right.
I'm gonna. Your new nickname is Sal A. Sal A. Like Stephen A. Sal A. You're on fire tonight. You're on fire tonight.
Yeah. Anyway, offense needs to score a lot of points. That's what the bottom line is. There's no excuse not to just light up the scoreboard on Illinois State and win this game. And as Cheryl was alluding to, just looking at the rest of Youngstown State's schedule, at Illinois State, at Illinois, and then we host Northern Iowa to end the season. After this game, we're playing two teams that have yet to win a conference game. Southern Illinois is horrendous this year. And then we will never overlook Northern Iowa. So, yeah, winning the last three games is definitely realistic. But before we move on to our picks, Cheryl, the chat is happening. There's a lot of score predictions, a lot of things, conversations going on. I think I saw a celeb in there, former YSU quarterback as well.
Ricky Davis.
What's up, Rick?
I think Bo just broke his single season rushing record for a quarterback in YSU history. Or
Ricky Davis.
He had the single season.
What up?
Anyways, Ricky's up there in terms of rushing.
The reason I didn't announce last week's Switka and Mets were, Switka and Chrome were the closest, but Chrome 31-28, YSU, Switka 38-24. But since he picked the wrong team, he is ineligible. So no one was really close at all. But go ahead, Cyril.
I was just going to say, I definitely know Ricky Davis is up there in terms of career rushing yards for a quarterback. Was our teammate as we were kind of transitioning out. So Definitely somebody that was on the scout team making my life a little annoying, when we had played a rushing quarterback. Okay, we got a couple too late entries. DJ Moss coming in late. He's a buzzkill.
What's up, Moss?
Richard Wolf is in there. So, hold on, let me just get these organized so I can just go down the list here.
Moss didn't give a score. Oh, yeah, he did. 30. Okay.
Yeah, he did. He just chimed in. Sal, pay attention. So Jason Crum has YSU winning 31-21. Nico has YSU winning 35-27. Mets. He was on board with the Penguins win last week. He has Illinois State winning 30-27 with the Penguins on the road. Ricky Davis, shout out. We just gave him a shout out. All-time celeb there. 27-17. YSU wins. Mm-hmm. Penguin Nation has YSU winning 40-35.
Ooh. Like that.
Quigley, I hope I say your name right every week.
Right.
Quigley, I hope I say your name right. Just, text me or shoot me an Instagram message if I don't. Has YSU winning 45-42. DJ Moss with a little shout out, 33 in the heart emoji there. Has Illinois State winning 35-21. And then Richard Wolf has YSU winning 45-42. So copying Quiggs there, Wolf. But that might be the
Wolf
score.
There at the game?
I did not see Wolf at the game.
Oh, Wolf, come on, man. All right,
He was probably there. I just didn't see him.
If anyone, you can still get your picks in. Just hit it in the chat if you're just chiming in or still thinking and chewing it over. As always, pick who is going to win and cover. Sal, Kerr, Dan, Searle. That is how we will pick. First game of the week. It is 1 p.m. as North Dakota looks to bounce back after their overtime loss. Is at Indiana State. North Dakota is a minus 11.5 favorite. I think they're pretty pissed off. I think they're going to win big and cover.
Which game is this?
North Dakota.
Oh, geez.
Indiana State.
Gosh. I wasn't that impressed with North Dakota. They'll win, but they're not covering. Give me the points with the Sycamores.
It's not bad.
Wow.
It's not bad. I was on the fence.
Indiana State coming off a win, right?
Indiana State's kind of good.
Oh, they're kind of good.
In their level, their bars here, they're like right here. Go ahead, bro.
All right, my pick. Am I up?
You're up, man.
Yeah, I'll take Indiana State and those points.
Dude, this is weird, man, because now I want to take Indiana State with the points. Because I think everyone minus Purdue, they covered. I think I want to look at their record versus the spread this year because it's probably up there as, whatever the case may be. Can North Dakota play outdoors? Can they play outside of North Dakota? They didn't leave the
8
the
weeks.
state for 8 weeks.
Yep.
What is that? Are y'all scared to leave? Give me the Sycamores with the points. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, many crickets. Youngstown State is at
So
Illinois State.
I got to get my 2 cents in.
It's at Illinois State, 3 p.m. Illinois State is a minus 4.5 favorite, being the home team. I have the money line on the Penguins, win and cover, or win.
I will take the Penguins as well. Same score as last year. What was that, 41-38? I want the same score. Doesn't matter. Penguins money line. Go next.
Yeah, I got YSU winning this one, but not that many points. I think there'll be some defense in this game. So YSU winning something. Yes, Sal, I said it.
You do think there's going to be defense?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be 45-42. No, I don't.
Maybe
I don't care if it is, as long as we win. But
142.
I got us winning, but not
Jeez.
90 points on the board. I don't think there'll be that many, but we win.
So, guys, just so everyone knows, like, there's a total difference between Penguins money line and Penguins plus 4.5 points. Just so if you guys got money on it and it sounds like Penguins money line and the Penguins lose by 3, Sal loses because he picked money line, not plus 4.5 points, right, Sal?
No.
So, yeah, that's totally right. Anyways,
Yeah.
this team.
We've been doing it one way. I pick Penguins on the points, and I pick them to win.
But if you say on air Penguins money line,
Yeah, you're saying
fucking
why
stand
shoot
by
a
it.
win.
Sorry for the language. There it is. I
Okay,
knew I was gonna
go
let
ahead,
this
go
slide
ahead.
Hey, let's
somewhere.
not get
Cut
Kyle
me.
all riled up. It's almost 9 o'clock.
No, I love it. Get going, Sledge. Get after him, Sledge. Get
Pull
after
it
him.
down.
Let's
Who you
go.
got?
This game is weird because like it could be scoring in the 40s, it could be scoring in the teens. Like I don't know. By the way, Moss changed his score prediction to 31-28 YSU. So put Moss down, changing it. I am gonna take Penguins money line. So if they lose by 3, don't give me a point for the win. I'm going to take the Penguins money line. I think they're going to win 42-31.
Okay. If we weren't on overtime, I'd say over 60 points because I think I would definitely win that bet. Only Kurt's like the only one that sees this the way I do, but it's going to be high scoring, boys. So Illinois at Missouri State, 3 p.m. Missouri State.
31, not.
Missouri State is 24.5 favorites. I'm taking Missouri State to win and cover.
Give me Southern Illinois with the points.
Ooh.
24.5 is a lot.
That
I know
is
the Slinkies stink, but still, Missouri State by 25?
At home.
Yeah, I know.
What you got, Dan?
I got Missouri State covering. I could kind of see them winning 38-10 or 41. Who knows? But yeah, I'll give those points. Sal, you're really salty tonight. I just wanted to say that I got a text from one of the watchers says Sal is salty. I texted him back and said forgive him. He's still recovering from the storm. His hair isn't combed, so I think he might have just woke up. But I said you're not too salty. So
yeah, lost my curling match last week and I'm upset still.
It's football season.
Cyril just said, "Oh my god," because of the curling comment. Just let it go, Kyle. We've talked about your strategies.
I think Sal's getting a kickback every time he mentions curling. I think there's an organization in Canada is sending him a stock dividend or something.
Dude, I don't know. This Saluki team kind of sucks, man. Just give me Missouri State with the points. They used to be
the curling
good,
hat
now
on.
they're not good.
Yeah.
Put the curling hat on for you, Kyle.
Yeah, he's hiding. It's election. It's crunch time in the election, and he's throwing on Canadian gear.
That's right.
Yeah, dropped down to 82 down there in Florida. Are you cold?
That's right. The AC's on a little too cold today. Murray State is at South Dakota State, 3 p.m. South Dakota State is a minus 32.5 favorite. That is a lot of points, but it is Murray State. I'm taking the Jackrabbits to win and cover, especially after that close call last week.
Same.
Yeah, likewise. That's a lot of points. They've played 2 tough games, man, but it is Murray State.
Oh, welcome to the Missouri Valley, Murray State. Do they write a letter of resignation to the Missouri Valley Football Conference leaving Brookings this weekend? It's going to be way more than 32 points. Way more than 32 points. You can take it to the bank. It's going to be a bloodbath. Give me the South Dakota State Jackrabbits.
Questionable impression, but I think we all got it.
Whatever. I don't care.
Northern Iowa at North Dakota State, 3:30 for the last game. North Dakota State is a minus 29 and a half favorite. I have the Bison to win and cover, mostly because they're at home.
I'll take Northern Iowa with the points.
You know, I'm gonna lay those points. North Dakota State rolls them, but Sal, I think you were wrong. I thought you last week Northern Iowa was getting 9.5 and they covered because I could be wrong, but I thought it was bigger than what the final
you are
score.
right. I didn't want to say it on the air, but you are right.
Thank you. So I should have won a point last week. I think I picked. Didn't I pick or did I go the other?
Me, you. Yeah, I didn't want to hurt Cheryl's feelings, but me, you, and Kurt all took Northern.
I knew that was wrong. So did I
and
lose?
that actually takes his point away, but let's go with kudos.
Whatever.
Give him this point.
No, I didn't want to take anybody's point away. I'm just saying. Well, you know,
I was
my
point away. You took my point away, DK. Okay, it's fine.
I know. It's just
I can handle it.
You got Northern Iowa, Dan?
No, I got North Dakota State. North Dakota State. Yep.
Cheryl?
Dude, 30 points. That's a lot. 29.5. Northern Iowa found some offensive production last week. So were they at home last week? They were at home last week.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's going to be that many points in the game. Just give me Northern Iowa with the points. I think NDSU is going to win big, but I don't know, maybe by like 28.
Okay. And as we all discussed, we're not going to pick the last game I put on here. It was
don't
Trump
say
versus,
it. Don't jinx it. Don't.
I'm not going to jinx it. This podcast
Here
neither
we go.
endorses nor favors either presidential candidate. However, we do endorse going out to vote. This is the last podcast before Election Day, Tuesday night. Please go out and vote. Definitely all eyes will be on those swing states. Youngstown being blue, flipping to red. All eyes will be on Youngstown. And, of course, I don't know where Springfield, Ohio is, but the entire world will be looking at Springfield, Ohio on Tuesday night as well. But those swing states are up for grabs. If you haven't voted yet, go out and vote. Definitely, it is a right that should be exercised. As far as Instagram question, comments, YouTube question, comments, Kurt and Cheryl, anything to share on that end?
Yeah, Instagram just asked a question. I think it was this morning or last night. Who's the most underrated player for the Youngstown State football team, or who's one of our players that's flying under the radar? And it was pretty unanimous that Mike Voitis is one of our most underrated players on our roster this year. Local product. I'm not sure where he's from, but
Poland. I think he's a Poland kid.
He's a Poland kid. Yeah,
I think.
Quiggs who had told me, with all the transfers coming in, and we were getting a lot of transfers on the defensive side of the ball. It was great to see a local kid step up and kind of solidify and provide some consistency and some steadiness to the defense. But that's all that I have. I do have a quick, just kind of a fun stat. We have a Division II running back from Virginia Union this past weekend, rushed for 324 yards in a game with 6 touchdowns. I thought that was kind of a crazy stat to share. We're not Division II. I don't know much about Virginia Union at all, but somebody who has 30-plus carries in a game for 324 yards. He's got 66 rushing touchdowns in his career.
So we like pulling our running backs from Division II, so look out.
Not a bad grab. I don't know if he's a senior or not, but Jada Byers is his name out of Virginia Union. So if you want to see some highlights, check that out. He is running all over everybody in Division II.
Nice. So anything from the chat? It's been going haywire today.
Moss is kind of just talking to me. Richard Wolf, kind of quiet, just gave a score prediction. Penguin Nation doesn't trust our defense to limit the explosive plays against a dual threat quarterback. So that just goes into the score prediction. A congrats to Bo from Ricky Davis. DJ Moss wants Coach Sims on the show, which I think that would be
that'd be a good one.
I'm gonna start doing up downs.
I don't know, Moss. Hey, get him chopping. Just guys, I don't know about that one, Moss. I mean, he's like a podcast after dark kind of host, but I'll text him and see what he has available this off season. So
Yeah, Dan, you got to get those subscriptions going. Any shout outs for any high schools locally or any coaches out there, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's 27 local teams in the playoffs right now, so too many to mention. We wish them all luck.
Y'all have playoffs going on?
Yeah, this first round of high school playoffs coming up this weekend.
Wow.
So, yeah, so there's a whole boatload of teams. Many of the names we mentioned earlier on the show this year. We'll see how round one goes and see who's left. We'll give him a shout next week.
David Rock in there?
Oh, hell yeah, he's undefeated, man. D Rock got him going, and they got a crazy side. I think even before he was the head coach, something like this is their 11th undefeated season in the last 15 years. But he got him in there, Danny Reardon, and a lot of guys, Matt Richardson, Timmy Tyrrell, too many to mention. Derek Bush, our guy Derek's got him in there. And, he got Lakeview in there. So a whole bunch of teams. I don't want to leave anybody out, but we'll definitely hit those guys up after round one.
Love that. Anyone have anything else before we wrap it up? All right, let's transition. Once again, this Saturday, November 2nd, 3 p.m., your Youngstown State Penguins are at Illinois State. Good luck to our Penguins. As always, we are on Instagram, Whitetown Penguin Podcast. Please follow us anywhere you get your podcast. Give us a 5-star review. And we are on YouTube Live every Wednesday, 7:30. Sorry, we're about 10 minutes or so late, but we will try our best to be on time. Anything else for anybody? We're ready. We're done. All right, we're a little over time. We'll wrap it up. Once again, I am your host, Salguaro. That is Cal Stroh. That's Dan Kopp. And that is Kerr Hudson. As always, go Penguins.